Hello, my loyal subscribers. Because I have not done this yet, I'm going to be giving you a review of a movie, which now I'm going to finally give a lower rating to. Because all the movies I've reviewed so far have had good ratings. This one, holy shit. What the fuck, Warner Brothers? That's all I gotta say. Here's the movie, Batman v Superman. So yeah, this was a movie which I'd been anticipating for a while, and needless to say, it was a huge letdown, which is why I'm going to have this sucker in my mouth to keep my emotions at bay. Along with a good old-fashioned Pepsi, non-paid-for product right here. But anyway, let's get to the review. So yeah, I've been anticipating this movie for a while, ever since I saw Man of Steel, the movie that came before it, that starred Henry Cavill as Superman, and thought it was a pretty enjoyable film and all, but there were some areas that could have been improved, but it was still pretty dang good. And as I said in my Suicide Squad review, I really loved that film and really enjoyed that. That was a really great film. Margot Robbie, you kicked ass. But anyway, moving along back to this review, this movie focuses on Batman and Superman. In this film, it deals with them having a huge clash over some collateral damage that happened from the previous film, Man of Steel. And this movie already got off on my bad side within the first 5 minutes. Because you want to know what happened in the first 5 minutes of this film? A fucking retelling of Batman's origin story. Message to you, Warner Brothers. We know Batman's origin. Quit telling it to us. We know his origin. His origin is just like Spider-Man's and Superman's. We don't need it to be retold. We know it. You can just take Batman and move forward with him. Seriously, why did you think it was a good idea to retell his origin story in the first 5 minutes of this movie? I will admit, I did like the little, the pearl necklace on the shooter's gun. That looked really cool, but seriously, Batman at this point is like Spider-Man. You can just move forward with him. You don't really need to retell the origin story. And that also leads into another problem that I have with this movie. This movie feels like a trailer for the upcoming Justice League movie. Too many times in this film, it just was so clunky. But anyway, before I move any further with this, I have a few more characters, just gotta show you, that are gonna play key parts into this film. Another character in this film too, who's introduced for the first time in cinema, is Wonder Woman. This is her debut in the film, and I gotta say, I really like Gal Gadot in this film, or Gal Gadot, however you say her name. She was really good. She was definitely a highlight of the film. She just wasn't in the movie enough. But there was one thing that related to her in this film, which I did have a problem with, but I'll move on to that later in the video. And the last important character the last two important characters that I gotta show you who play roles in this are obviously the regulars. There's Perry White and Lois Lane and Lex Luthor. Also in this film, and Lex Luthor is the main villain of this film, along with another villain who I will get to later on in the video, which was definitely, this villain could have been better. I'm going to say that right now. But anyway, frickin' Jesse Eisenberg, I gotta say this, DC/Warner Brothers, what were you thinking when you casted him? Because this is basically the way Jesse Eisenberg played frickin' Lex Luthor, which is not Lex Luthor in the comics or any piece of Lex Luthor lore. This is the way he played him. He played him as a spastic, like socially awkward, billionaire. He's all like, that's the way he played him. He always had a little twitch, where he'd always be moving like this, or just twitching every once in a while, and it just got so annoying. Or he'd be all talking all calm for 1 minute like this, and they'd be like, wait, so yeah, he just completely switch on you just like that, and that just got so annoying, and at no point could I ever really like that. And sure, I know there is the argument that Lex Luthor, this isn't the actual Lex Luthor, it's his son. But still, seriously, why? I just don't get it. Why the heck? Who thought this was a good idea? Seriously, who thought this was a good idea? Frickin' Jesse Eisenberg, he was a miscast for this role. They really should have cast... Warner Brothers, you should have cast your original choice. You should have cast Bryan Cranston. Bryan Cranston would have been a great Lex Luthor, because he is one great actor who I have nothing but respect for. Whether he's in a movie with a small role, like in Saving Private Ryan, or if he's in a huge role, like in frickin' Argo, or any movie like that. But, yeah, anyway, so Lex Luthor just gathers up some remains of Superman's battle with General Zod in the previous movie, Man of Steel, and he decides to take General Zod's corpse, and he decides to frickin' recreate Superman, I think, and use him as like a weapon, because he views Superman as God and as a threat, and wants to get rid of him. And throughout this whole film, Batman's seen trying to have a bunch of paranoia of Superman, just like much of the world, because frickin' he thinks he's responsible for all the damage that happened in Man of Steel. Plus, Wayne Tower got destroyed during the battle scene in Man of Steel, and he had to save a few people. He saved, he got them out, but a few people didn't make it during the onslaught of the chaos in this film. But I gotta say this, Ben Affleck was one of my initial doubts about this film, him as Batman, but I gotta say he was really, really good. I really enjoyed him, and he was definitely a highlight of this film. He is what kept me interested throughout this film, anything relating to Batman. The only complaint I had about his character was he would straight up kill people in this film. He straight up kill criminals, and I know there's argument that there was the one dream sequence scene, but there were some non-dream sequence scenes that just made no sense whatsoever, and he just killed people, like, straight up. Like, the Batmobile had guns, and he'd be driving around just straight up killing people, and I really would have liked it if there would have been a scene in the film where he, like, explains why. Like, Alfred's asking him, "Sir, you're taking this too far. Could you maybe quit doing this?" And then he could say something like, "They killed Robin," or "They killed blank girl's name." He's like, "I have nothing left." And that would have made some really good sense, and that really would have made sense on why he was doing that. And then that leads to another problem that I have with this film, which happened in the very next scene, where there are some blatant Justice League references. Seriously, DC, you couldn't have set up your Justice League any fucking better? Marvel spent 5 fucking movies getting their universe set up, and they did a great job of making us care for the characters and making us invested in the characters with those 5 movies. Not to mention that there'd be subtle hints of the upcoming Avengers film. With this Justice League movie, you're just shoving it right in our face with the Justice League movie coming out next year. And by the way, message to anyone who says, "Oh, you'll probably be going to go see the Justice League movie in November when it comes out next year." Well, I got something to tell you. Thor Ragnarok comes out in that same month. And you want to know what series I'm more invested in at the current moment? Thor. I want to see that movie more because the Hulk's going to be in it. I love the first 2 Thor movies. I'm seeing Thor Ragnarok. I don't care if I miss out on Justice League because I'm going to say it right here, right now. And you can crucify me all you want in the comments, but I don't care. The Justice League movie is just an Avengers knockoff with DC in it. The style is similar. Everything's the same. Nothing is really different. They're just trying to rip off the Avengers. And then Ben Affleck's trying to do a Robert Downey Jr. impersonation. Message to you, Ben. You're a great actor. I like you and all. But don't impersonate Robert Downey Jr. There's only one RDJ. You're not him. So anyway, here was the Justice League tie-in in Batman v Superman that just really annoyed me. There was a scene where, literally, for the Justice League setup, all Wonder Woman does is frickin' just act like this Pepsi's a mouse. She just frickin' clicks an email, opens up an email, and you see all the logos of everyone in the Justice League. There's Wonder Woman, Aquaman, Flash, and Cyborg. Yeah, all 4 of them. And that was pretty much the setup. And another thing, too, that really disappoints me, the script for this movie was written by Chris Terrio, the guy who wrote the script for Argo. And he won an Oscar for writing that script. Seriously, Chris, you couldn't have wrote a better script? It's like, did you write one good script and then just take a complete dump and be like, I'm not going to put much effort into this script. I'm just going to put in a bunch of lazy references. And plus, another thing, too, that I didn't like about this film was Batman's whole reasoning for fighting Superman was established, but Superman's reason for fighting Batman was not established. And plus, Superman only spoke 42 lines in this film. Frickin' Spider-Man from Captain America Civil War, who wasn't even a main character, spoke more lines, and didn't even have as much screen time in the film. Pretty dang disappointing. Shoot, even Mad Max from Mad Max Fury Road had more frickin' lines than Superman in frickin' Batman v Superman. However, there was one aspect of this part that I did really enjoy. Regardless of Superman's side not being established that well, the actual fight between Batman and Superman was great, even though I didn't agree with Superman's quote-unquote reasoning when Lex Luthor kidnapped Martha Kent and his mom, and frickin' he said, "You're gonna go fight Batman, or I'm gonna kill your mom right now." So basically, Lex Luthor, for lack of a better way to put it, he held Superman by the balls. He pretty much had to fight Batman. He had no option. With Captain America Civil War, Iron Man and Cap weren't fighting each other because someone else forced them to fight each other. They fought each other because they were freaking clashing and they were at odds. What happened with Baron Zemo, that was just fuel to the fire. That was just gas on the fire. But anyway, the fight between Batman and Superman, freaking, yeah, I got to admit the fight between Batman and Superman was real great. It was pretty epic, and I liked how Batman used kryptonite and a bunch of other gadgets and stuff to mess with Superman. And I will admit there was one line of dialogue that was really good in the film, but I still thought Captain America Civil War had the better dialogue. And don't accuse me of being a Marvel fanboy. This is a complete unbiased opinion. But anyway, frickin', as I was saying, frickin' Batman and Superman, as they fought each other, he says, "You're not a man, men bleed." And it was a pretty awesome fight scene, and I also liked it when Batman fired this like kryptonite gas pellet, and frickin' Superman was trying to punch him, and he blocked his punch, and Superman had a look on his face like, oh shit. Kind of reminded me of the scene in Captain America Civil War when Spider-Man was fighting Bucky, and Bucky tried punching him with his metal arm. He's like, "Oh, you have a metal arm? That is awesome, dude." But yeah, it's pretty cool, but I just did not like the way this fight ended. This fight ended for a very stupid and anticlimactic reason, which goes back to why I am just really pissed at Chris Terrio for this script. You want to know why they stopped fighting? It's because both Batman and Superman's mothers have the same name. He says, right before Batman's getting ready to kill him with this little kryptonite spear, he's all saying, "Save Martha! We have to save Martha!" And I know that they referenced it earlier in the film, but this just made no sense. Plus, when two superheroes like Batman and Superman are fighting each other, their mothers having the same name should not be the reason why they stop fighting. They should stop fighting because, like, here's what I would have liked it to be. This would have been better. It would have been so much better if, like, Batman and Superman are all fighting, and Batman's about to deliver the final punch, and he's like, "Wait, I'm not the real enemy here. Let's go take on Lex Luthor. Let's go fight him." And frickin' just, it was so annoying. And I gotta say, the burning that this movie got by critics and fans alike is well deserved, because Captain America Civil War handled the fight a lot better, because it was very much like a fire. There was gas in Captain America Civil War, and then the fire started, and once it started, it did not let up. While this one started the fire, but then it died out. So anyway, after this fight ends, frickin' Batman and Superman are now best friends because their mothers have the same name. Yeah, that sounds about as stupid as I'm saying it, while I'm saying it. But anyway, what happens is we meet the real other villain of this film that Lex Luthor was secretly creating with his own DNA, and General Zod's DNA from the previous film, Man of Steel. Frickin' what happens is frickin' Zod is, he creates Doomsday. As you can tell, by the way, just looking at Doomsday, that CGI was just terrible, and it really took me out of the film. He frickin' looks like frickin' a cross between the cave troll from Lord of the Rings, the frickin' Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the Michael Bay version, and the the Hulk film that came out from a few years ago, where the Hulk basically looked like a huger version of Shrek. So yeah, Doomsday didn't look that good. And anyway, Batman and Superman, they team up to fight him, along with help from Wonder Woman, which this was another scene in the film that I did enjoy. It had some pretty good timing in it. I really like how Batman's going after Doomsday in the little Batwing, and Doomsday's getting ready to kill him by shooting the little heat vision at him, and Batman's all like, oh shit. And I just like how Wonder Woman shows up with her little gauntlets to block it, and Batman and Superman are like, wait, is she with you? He's all like, I thought she was with you, and that was just a real cool scene. And that also leads to another scene in the film, which I got to admit was a pretty awesome scene. There's a scene where Batman goes to save Superman's mom because Superman goes after Lex Luthor, and basically what happens is Batman has this really badass fight, very reminiscent of the Batman Arkham series, where he's just taking out guys and jacking them up. Granted, he kills a few of them, but it's still a pretty awesome scene. He's just fighting all these guards in this warehouse, and the way that he saves his Superman's mom was pretty cool too. I really liked that. The way how he took out this guy's little gas tank and he like saved his mom and then threw this little batarang that had a timer on it, and then it exploded and killed the guy after he already saved Superman's mom, Martha. And the fight between Doomsday and Wonder Woman, all them, it had some enjoyable moments, but I got to admit, this leads into something else that I thought this film suffered from. Frickin' Lois Lane, she served no purpose whatsoever in this film. Like, the script was trying to justify her appearance in this film, but she really served no purpose, and I can honestly say if she was omitted from the script, it really wouldn't have been any different. It made no sense whatsoever. And basically, as this fight is going on, Superman realizes he's going to have to put the kryptonite spear inside Doomsday to kill him. That's going to be the only way to kill him. So as Batman and Wonder Woman are all trying to fight Doomsday, even though Doomsday can basically heal himself, like there's a scene in the film where Superman literally takes General Zod up into space, and he tries to, the U.S. government launches a nuclear bomb out into space to try to destroy Doomsday, but Doomsday just takes the hit and he just absorbs it, and he can basically heal. He's basically like Wolverine or Deadpool. Whatever you hit him with, he will always come back, and there's only like a few ways you can kill him. Kryptonite Spear being one of them. So anyway, Lois is talking in the next scene because Superman's deciding that he's going to have to potentially sacrifice himself, and boy, talk about melodramatic. That was definitely, that scene could have been a lot better. Then Superman flies in to pierce Doomsday with the kryptonite spear, and basically what happens is he kills Doomsday, but then Doomsday kills him as well, and all the rest of the scene is just Superman's funeral and Clark Kent, his secret identity. I guess it was just assumed that he was reporting on what happened. He died in the crossfire, and then the scene at the end of the film is another blatant Justice League setup where Wonder Woman and Batman are talking to each other about the Justice League because he's trying to honor Superman's memory. I will admit, it was pretty ballsy to kill Superman in this movie, but what I didn't like was the final shot of this film. Frickin' Lois Lane drops some dirt on Superman's grave, and you want to know what happens on that grave right before the credits roll? Frickin' it moves. So yeah, they didn't kill Superman, they just frickin' trolled us. Yeah, gosh, that could have been done a lot better. Overall, I gotta say, even though you heard me hate on a lot of things in this film, there were still those parts that I did enjoy, but I gotta say, in terms of this being a superhero versus superhero movie, it could have been a lot better, and I can understand why Captain America Civil War burned it, and it's getting burned on my channel as well, because I did 3 videos on Captain America Civil War. Batman v Superman, it's only getting 1. This is the only video I'm doing for this movie, because boy, it was a doozy to watch, because if it weren't for Ben Affleck's Batman, I don't think I could have sat through this whole film. But because there were some parts of the film that I enjoyed, I gotta say I'm gonna give this movie, I believe, 2 Durans. I'm giving it 2 Durans. Definitely not one of the better movies, but it's not okay. And frickin' just, yeah, I gotta say this was definitely not a good first Justice League setup movie, because those Justice League setups in the film were so lazy and just so poorly done. But Suicide Squad was really good, so I'm not entirely disappointed with everything that DC's been doing. I personally really enjoyed Suicide Squad. And the Justice League movie, I'm not going to be in a rush to see it when it comes out, but I still want to see it just to see how it turns out. It's just, that first trailer made it really look like the Avengers, and I just really didn't like it. Alright, well, like this video if you like it, comment, and subscribe for some more awesome content. And I hope you all have a fire day.